It's that time of the year again. This video will show you how to create a fully fleshed out Discord server from scratch with bot functionality, a professional aesthetic, and much more in roughly 30 minutes. I'm not going to take up much time in this intro, but I do want to mention one thing before we get started. If you're the type of person that one, doesn't have the time to do this yourself, or two, would rather just hire an expert to create everything for you completely hands off, then you are in the right place. For the last few years, I've actually been freelancing over on Fiverr and have created well over 1,000 Discord servers with nothing but glowing 5-star reviews from all of the clients I've worked with. This year, I'm 100% still offering this service, but I'm actually pivoting away from Fiverr into my own private freelancing Discord server. You can join from the link that's on screen right now, or you can also find that link and easily click it at the top of the description or in the pinned comment below. Regardless of what niche or industry you're in, I'm confident that I can create the best Discord server for you and your community. So join my freelance server via the link on screen or in the description or pinned comment, create a ticket via my ticket system, and we can get right to work. I also have a free Discord help channel inside my community server, discord.gg/gesture. So if you have simple questions and don't need me to build your entire server, definitely feel free to join up and ask there. Lastly, a huge shout out to our friends over at iTransltor for sponsoring this video. More on them in just a little bit. Without further ado, this is my 2025 tutorial for how to create a Discord server. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is create our Discord server. If you are brand new to Discord, the button should be towards the top up here if you're not in a ton of servers like I am. If you are in a lot of servers, you're going to just find this plus button that says add a server somewhere on the left sidebar. We're going to click that button and then it's going to ask us if we want to create our own or start from a little bit of a template. We're going to just completely start from scratch so I can show you guys what it's like to fully build it up from absolutely nothing. So we're going to click create our own, and we can do for club and community because this is going to be a community server focused around being a content creator, since that's what I am. And then we're going to click that, and then we are going to be able to name the server as well as give it a server logo. So I have named it Gesture 2025 Tutorial. I threw on a logo and we are going to create the Discord server. Once you do that, you will be brought into your brand new server. So let's talk a little bit about what we see here. On the left side, this is going to be where our channel layout is. This is where all of our channels and categories are going to go. The middle of the screen is obviously the channel that you are in. And then the right side is going to be your member list. So once you start adding more members and bots, you will start to see many other members under the right side member list over here. So firstly, let's start small and then we're going to start scaling up. The first thing we're going to start with is we're going to set up some categories and then we're going to set up some channels. Think of categories as a folder for all of your channels to go in. So this text channels right here, this is our folder for all of our channels to go in. So we're going to create a few different categories where we're going to have different channels based on that category's theme. So let's go ahead and start. To create a category on the left side of your screen over here in any of the empty space, you're just going to right click and then click create category. The first category that we're going to create a welcome category. I always like to have something like this to set up a welcome channel to be able to greet your new members, a rules channel so you can show and display your rules of the server, an announcements channel, maybe some links, anything like that. So all we're going to do is type in the name of our category, welcome. We don't need to worry about this private category. We'll touch on that a little bit later. That's more for if you want to hide the category where only certain people can see it. We want everyone to see this category, so we're going to type in the name and we're going to click create category. So we're going to create a few other categories. The next one we're going to do is going to be a category for all of my social media content to go. So we're going to set this up as a read-only category where only I can message in it and other members can only view the content there. So I'm just going to name this category after myself, and then we're going to create the category. And then lastly, I'm going to create a mod and admin section. This is going to be a private section. We don't have any roles set up yet, so we can't really utilize this functionality yet, but I'm going to add one more category later after we get some roles set up, and I'm going to show you how you can utilize that. For now, we're just going to create a mod admin category and go ahead and create it, and we'll worry about the permissions in the next segment. So now we got a handful of categories set up. So let's go ahead and reorganize these first. We can drag and drop these anywhere. So I'm going to put the welcome category at the top. I'm going to put my social media content category next. Then I'm gonna have the text channels, then the voice channels, then the mod admin category. And so you wanna change up the names of these. If you wanna change text channels, I'm not a big fan of that. We can go ahead and right click where it says text channels, click edit category, and this will basically let us edit the name of the category and then also the permissions, which we're going to touch on shortly. So let's go ahead and rename this to community. Instead of text channels, this is gonna be the community hub space where all of our main chatting channels are going to go. So we're gonna press escape to get out of that. Now what we're going to do is we're gonna start creating some channels to go inside these categories. So I'm going to show you how to create a few, and then I'm going to go through and go ahead and set up all the channels that I want. You guys can pause the video, do the same for yourself, and then we can continue. So let's go ahead and start creating some channels. What we're going to do is we're going to come up to our category, and on the right side of it, you're going to see a plus sign that says create channel. All we're going to do is click that button, and then we're gonna have two different options. So Discord has a text channel and a voice channel. Text channels is for people to send text messages, images, GIFs, any file attachments, stuff like that. Voice channels are for you to be able to use audio voice. You can even do things like a video call, and you can even screen share your computer screen. Right now, we're going to set up some text channels. So the first one we're going to do is a welcome channel. So we will just type in welcome and press create channel. And then we're also going to create a few more that I'd already mentioned earlier. We're going to create a rules channel. So we're going to click that plus button again, type in rules for the channel name. It's going to be a text channel, and then we're going to create the channel. Next up, we're going to create another channel, and we're going to call it announcements. If I could spell right, it doesn't look like I can today, and I still can't spell right. Okay, there we go. So we've got an announcements channel. We're going to create that channel, and that's really as easy as it is to create channels. I'm going to go through, I'm going to set up a handful more. Feel free to pause the video, go ahead and set up some yourself, or you can wait until after I get it set up, pause the video there, see the channels that I set up, and go ahead and set up the same ones for yourself, adjusted to your community. Okay, so now I have got all of my channels set up. Feel free to pause the video right here if you kind of want to take a second to look at my layout and set yours up similar. But here's what we got. We got our welcome category with a few different channels, our gesture category with all of our social media stuff. I got a links channel, a channel for my videos, my live streams. Then I've got the community section, which is a handful of different community chatting channels. We've got the general chat, which is the main open chat. We've got memes, gaming, art, food, IRL, a couple different voice channels for people to hang out, and then our moderator and admin section, which we're going to set up the permissions for shortly. So now we got a really good channel layout going. What we're going to do next is jump into our server settings and create some roles. But before we do, I want to tell you about my partners over at iTranslator. iTranslator is a must-have Discord bot for communities that speak more than one language. The bot lets you translate all messages directly inside the server, so you never have to go off platform at all. This even includes their automatic translation feature, which essentially lets you automatically translate a message in one language inside a specific channel into another language inside another channel. iTranslator can even be used in direct messages with your friends, allowing you to better communicate privately in your direct messages with anyone that might not speak the same language as you. To top it all off, iTranslator recently just launched their brand new dashboard, allowing you to fully set up all of its functionality on a clean dashboard rather than having to do it via commands inside the server. iTranslator gives you access to 30 different languages for the free version, and if you upgrade to premium, you get over 109 different languages available. If you want to add iTranslator to your Discord server today, you can find the link to do so at the top of the description. Thank you again to our partners over at iTranslator. Now let's get back into the video. So to get into our server settings, we're going to click the server name right up here at the top left. We're going to click server settings. That's going to take us into our main screen where we can access all of the settings of our server. Where we're going to be going is we're going to be navigating to the roles tab. So we're going to click on the roles tab, and we're not going to have any roles set up yet, but this is where we can start creating them. So all we're going to do is click create role, and we're going to be able to start naming our role and setting up any permissions, colors, all that good stuff. So what we're going to do first is we're going to create a basic member role. This role isn't going to really have any special permissions. It's just going to be a role that users get when they join the server, just to give them a little bit of color to their name. We can now give that role a color, so we can give it a preset color like they have here, or we can click this to actually create a custom color of whatever we want. So you can come up here, drag your cursor around and pick a color from here. Or if you know the hex code of a specific color you want, then you can type in that hex code right here. For me, I'm gonna go with this light blue color here. We're gonna click out of that. And before we start creating more roles, something you want to turn on for all of your roles is this option to display role members separately from online members. So let me save my changes and show you what this actually does. If I'm to come out to my main server settings and I was to give myself the member role, you'll see that it now shows me in blue and I have the actual member role, but it still shows me under the tab of online. So what turning on this setting does, if we go back into our server settings, if we turn on display role members separately and save our changes, what this actually does, and it is instead of displaying us under online, it now displays us under the actual role that we have. So this is the way, once you start getting a lot of members in your server, it's a way to really categorically display the hierarchy of all your members. So like me, I'm at the top here, my admins are here, my moderators are here, my IRL friends are here, so on and so forth. And it just kind of organizes everything as far as the member list. So we've got the member role set up. We're going to create a few more roles. The next one is going to be a moderator role. So we're going to go ahead and create a moderator role. We're going to give it a color, and then we're going to turn on the setting again. We're going to go ahead and create two more roles. One of them is going to be a bot role that we're going to give to all the bots that join our server. And then the next one is going to be an admin role. And we're going to have one more role that's going to just be the owner role that's going to display us at the top. So again, the way Discord works with permission or with roles is it's going to display from highest to lowest. So you want to drag these in the correct order. Right now, this is a little bit backwards. So we're going to drag the member role to the bottom, drag the owner role to the top, drag the admin role underneath the owner role, and that's how we kind of want it displayed. So now it's going to be our members, our bots, our moderators, our admins, and then the owner at the very top. Before we do anything else, you want to make sure you save your changes at the very bottom of your screen. And now we're going to jump into the actual permissions for these roles. So again, our member role, we don't have to worry about giving this role any permissions because it's just going to be a flare role. And now the @everyone, this is basically going to be the default permissions of everyone in the server. So a member is even though the member role doesn't actually have any permissions toggled on, they're going to automatically adopt all of the permissions for @everyone. So think of @everyone as just the default permissions of every single member in the server, regardless of what roles they have. So let's go ahead and start going through the basic permissions for our members. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn off create expressions. We don't want members to be able to add custom emojis, stickers, or sounds into our server. That's just not something you want them to be able to do. Now, some of you might want to change the ability to turn off the ability for users to change their nickname of the server. The nickname is just basically what their display name is. It's separate from their actual username. So if you don't want users to be able to change their name to whatever they want, you can turn that off here. I'm going to leave it on. We're going to scroll down a little bit more. Create public threads and create private threads. That's something you're definitely going to want to likely turn off. Scrolling down a little bit more, we're definitely going to turn off the ability for you members to mention @everyone, @here in all roles. What this permission basically means is that it gives the user to use the @everyone tag, which is the ability to basically send a notification to every single member in the server. Obviously, you don't want all of your members to be able to have that permission because they would be able to just tag everyone in the server. So we're going to keep scrolling down here. Read message history is fine. Send voice messages, that's totally up to you. Create polls, that's something you might want to turn off as well. It's kind of personal preference again. Discord recently last year launched the ability to where you can actually create polls on their platform instead of having to use a third-party bot. So if you don't want members to create their own polls inside your server, you can turn that off here. I'm going to be fine with it. And then if people start to abuse it, then I'll just come back in here and turn it off. Next up, we've got our voice channel permissions. So we are going to let them connect to voice channels, speak in voice channels, use video, use the soundboard, use external sounds, use voice activity. All of this is fine. Set voice channel status. This is basically a custom status the users can set in the voice channel to maybe describe what they're actually doing in that voice channel for people that might want to join. You could turn that off if you want. Some people could abuse it and put stuff like really harsh profanity or something in there. So if you don't want members to be able to do that, then you can turn that off here. Next up, we have app permissions. So the ability to use application commands. Applications are also known as bots. We're going to keep that on. Use activities, we're going to keep that on. Use external apps, we're going to leave that on as well. And then create events, we are definitely going to turn that off. We don't want our members to be able to create their own events inside the Discord server. So those are our permissions for our basic members. We're going to make sure we save our changes at the bottom. And now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into our last few roles and set up the permissions for those. So the bot role, the only thing I'm going to turn on for the bot role is I'm going to scroll to the very bottom and turn on this administrator permission. Now, firstly, let me explain the administrator permission and why I'm giving it to the bot role. So the administrator permission basically lets users do every single thing that you can as the the server owner except kick you from the server or delete the server. It's a very dangerous permission. We're also going to set this up on the admin role. So it's a very dangerous permission that you only want to enable and give that role to users that you absolutely trust, because they're going to have full control of your server. So since I'm only going to be adding those trusted bots, this basically just automatically gives them full permission and full control to the server. So I don't have to make sure that they have permissions inside every different channel and all that good stuff. So if you add this permission to your bot role, just make sure that you're only adding verified and trusted bots to your Discord server. You can know that a bot is a verified and trusted bot because they're going to have a check mark next to the app tag that says it's a verified app. So we got our permissions for the bot role, and that's also going to be the permissions for the admin role. So we can go ahead and click the admin role, toggle on the administrator permission for that as well. Again, make sure you only give the admin role to people that you absolutely trust if you're going to have this permission on. Lastly, we're going to jump into our moderator role. I see the moderator role as a little bit of a server upkeep role. So the only thing that I give the moderator role permission to do is really just deleting messages, kicking members, banning members, timing out members, just general upkeep of the server, and no ability to manage the channels, manage the server, manage roles, nothing like that. Now, of course, this is all personal preference. So if you want to give your moderators the permission to add new channels, add new roles, you're totally welcome to do that. This is just how I would set it up. So I'm going to enable the ability for the moderators to view the audit log so they can see what's happening with certain members. We're going to scroll down. I'm going to give them the ability to manage nicknames, which will let them change the nicknames of other members. We're going to give them the ability to kick, ban, and timeout members. We're going to scroll down a little bit more. Right here underneath mention at everyone, we're going to have the manage messages. We're definitely going to turn that on. That's basically just going to let them be able to delete messages from other members. We're going to keep scrolling down a little bit, and we are going to come down to the voice channel permissions. We're going to toggle on the mute members, deafen members, and move members. That'll basically just let them manually mute someone in a voice channel, manually deafen someone, or move people between voice channels. And then we're going to save our changes. And now we fully have our permissions set up for our admin role, our moderator role, our bots, and our basic members. Okay, so now we've got the roles set up and the permissions for the roles. We can actually jump in and start editing our permissions for our actual channels and categories. So I'm going to show you a really cool way to do your permissions. So there's two ways you can do it. You have the actual permissions on individual channels, and then you have permissions on the actual category. So a lot of people will come in and edit the channel and set up permissions on every single channel. And you can do that, but it's just a little redundant and unnecessary. What we're going to do that also helps future-proof each of these categories is we're going to set up the permissions on the actual category. And what that's going to do is any channels inside that category will automatically adopt the permissions of that category. So for example, we can right-click our welcome category and click edit category. Then we're going to jump into our permissions here. And the only thing that we're going to do is we just want this to be a read-only section where members can't message. So the only thing we're going to do is we're going to turn off for @everyone. We're just going to turn off the ability for members to send messages, and that's it. So now that we've got that set up, if we actually come look, all we did was edit the permissions of the category. If we come into each of our channels and look at the permissions, we can see that at the top, it says the permissions are synced with the welcome category, and it automatically set up the permissions as we just set them up on the category for each of our channels in that category. And that's really as easy as it is. So we're going to do the same thing for our gesture category. We're going to edit the category. We're going to come to permissions. We're going to make it to where members cannot send messages, and we're going to save our changes. So that's how you set up categories as read only. Now let me show you this mod admin section, how we're going to actually set this up as a private section. So we're going to right click on the mod admin category. We're going to click edit. We're going to come to our permissions here. And then what we're going to do is we're now going to utilize this private category tab at the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to toggle this on, and it's going to set it so @everyone cannot view the channels. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add members or roles. And what we're going to do is just add our moderator role. We don't have to add the admin role again because they bypass everything. So we're just going to add the moderator role and click done. What that's going to basically do is set up just as we did a minute ago, but instead of @everyone just not being able to send messages, they're not even going to be able to see these channels at all, but our moderators will be able to see these channels. So we'll click save changes, and then we're going to press escape. And what that's going to do is you're going to see it now shows a lock symbol next to these 3 channels. What these lock symbols mean is basically you have to have some kind of role to be able to view those channels. The one thing we are going to change though is our admin channel, because we want this to be a private channel just for our admins and not our moderators to see. So we're going to edit the channel. We're going to come to permissions. The moderator role, we're basically just going to come up here and remove access to the channel. So we're going to click that X, click OK. That's now going to remove them, and you'll see at the top it says permissions not synced. That's fine, because we want the permissions for the admin channel to be a little bit different than they are for the mod channel. So mod and logging is going to be available to moderators and admins. Admin is only going to be available to admins. All right, we're making some really good progress here. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set up our server as a community server, which is basically gonna give us access to a few extra features like Discord's onboarding feature, which is very, very useful. So what we're gonna do is navigate over to our server settings again by clicking our server name at the top left, coming to server settings. Towards the middle left of your screen, you should see the community tab and the enable community button. You're gonna click that. And again, what this is gonna do is basically just give us access to extra features like being able to be on the server discovery page. You get access to server insights, which is basically analytics for your Discord server. And you get multiple different updates from Discord themselves about new features and updates to the platform. So all we're gonna do is click get started, and it's basically gonna give you a 3-step walkthrough. So you're gonna have to turn all of these things on. Verification level, you're going to have to ensure that all members have a verified email to be able to interact in your server, as well as scanning all media from members in the server. We're going to check those. We're going to click the next button. The next thing is it's going to get us to set up a dedicated rules channel and a dedicated community updates channel. So we already set up our rules channel. So instead of create one for me, we're going to click this and go ahead and select our rules channel that we already set up. For community updates, if you want to set up a separate channel for that, you can. I recommend just setting it up in your moderator channel that we already set up. So come to the mod channel, click that, and then click next. Finally, it's going to make sure that you have all what they consider risky permissions disabled. We went through and already disabled all the permissions that we wouldn't want our @everyone members to have, like mention everyone, creating emojis, stuff like that. We already disabled all that. So all we're gonna do is click that we agree and understand, and then finish setup. And now we're going to have access to a few extra features like I mentioned. So you'll see under the community tab, we now have a new onboarding tab, a new server insights tab, and a new discovery tab. Now, like I mentioned, onboarding is a very, very useful feature that I highly recommend you set up in any community server. I don't have enough time to cover it in this video because I don't want the video to be 45 to 50 minutes long. However, I do have a full dedicated video on how to set this entire feature up. I'm gonna have it linked in the description along with some other very useful features on different bots and different functionality you can set up in your server. So make sure after the video, you check the description and head over and check out these different videos, especially the onboarding one, so you can learn how to fully set up these different features and functionality in your server. All right, so we're really making some good progress here. What we're gonna set up now is we're gonna add our first bot into the Discord server, and I'm gonna show you how to set up a basic utility bot with a few different essential functionality. The bot that I am going to be recommending that you use, and I used this in my last year's tutorial, is Sapphire. The reason I recommend Sapphire is because it has every essential feature that you would need to run your Discord server, and the only premium functionality they have is a custom bot token, which basically lets you have the bot with a customizable name and avatar. That is the only premium thing, that is the only feature locked behind a premium paywall with this bot. All of the actual functionality of the bot is 100% free. So I'm gonna have the link, it's saf.xyz. I'm gonna have this link in the description for you. We're gonna go ahead and add it to our Discord server by clicking this button here. If this is your first time visiting the Sapphire website, it's gonna have you connect your Discord account first. I've already got my Discord account, so I'm just going to type in the name of the server that I am wanting to add this to, which is the Gesture 2025 tutorial. We're gonna click continue. This is all of the permissions. This is a very trusted bot, so we're gonna enable all of the basic permissions. Scroll to the bottom and click authorize. Now, if we pull up our Discord server over here on the side, we can see that the Sapphire bot is now inside of our server. What we're gonna do is we're going to go ahead and add the bot role to this bot. To do that, we're going to right click on the bot, hover over roles, and then just toggle on the role we want to give it. While we're at it, we're gonna go ahead and give ourselves the owner role as well to go ahead and display us at the very top of the server. And two more very small things we're gonna do before we set up the bot. We're gonna come back into our server settings. Our system messages, we're gonna go ahead and turn those off. That's basically where Discord itself will send these welcome messages and stuff. We're going to be setting that up over here with Sapphire. So in our server settings on the overview tab, we're gonna go ahead and set up no system messages, save our changes, and then the last thing we're gonna do is come to our roles. Our Sapphire role, we're just gonna drag the Sapphire role all the way up to the top of the server, click save changes. Basically, that means Sapphire will now be able to manage and give out all of the roles underneath it. After we do that, we're going to move Discord to the side. We're going to come back over to Sapphire and we're going to make sure we click this refresh button. That's basically going to resync all of the changes we just made in the server on the Sapphire dashboard. So let's go ahead and start. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a basic welcome message. So we're going to click this welcome messages tab on the left. The join message is what we're going to set up. We are going to click that button. We're going to click new message. We're going to select the channel that we want the message to go in, which is the welcome channel. We can click continue styling message. If you want to edit what the message actually says, you can do that here on the edit tab and type in any text that you want. I'm going to keep it basic and just have the basic welcome message here. So I'm going to click preview. That looks fine to me. We're going to save our changes. And then what we're also going to do before we leave this tab is we're going to add the dynamic image options. So we're going to click the plus button here, and then we're going to see this use in message right here. Click on that, click our message 1, and then click to select slot. This should turn green. Go back to our messages, X out, save our changes. Basically, when a new member joins now, it's going to send the welcome text here where it says welcome, tags the user, and mentions the server name. And then underneath that, it's going to include an image with their actual member profile picture here, and then welcome them underneath here. Next up, we're going to set up the bot to give out the member role to everyone that joins the server. So we're going to click our join roles tab here, and then under roles, we're going to click the plus button, and we're going to add the member role to the join roles functionality. Once we save our changes at the bottom, Sapphire will now give out this member role to every user that joins the server. Next up, we're going to set up a little bit of auto moderation. I'm going to go a little bit quicker on this because I do have a fully dedicated video on Sapphire's auto moderation that I will include in the description as well. Basically, we're just going to set up a quick anti-spam filter. So we're going to click our auto moderation tab, go to advanced auto moderation here. And then at the very top, we're going to have our spam option. We're going to add condition. And then we're basically going to set up what the condition is, what we want the bot to do if a user sends more than 3 messages within 5 seconds. This can also be edited. If you want it to be 3 messages in 3 seconds, you can come up here and change that as well. We're just going to stick with the basic 3 messages in 5 seconds. And now we're going to select the actions that we want to happen when a user does that. So we're going to click the plus button. We're going to make sure it deletes the messages. We're going to set it to delete all. If you select delete overflow, basically that will just delete the 4th, 5th, 6th, and so on messages, every message after the 3rd message. We're going to click delete all to just get all of the spam that they sent out. And then we're going to set up one more action, which is going to be the report to moderators action. So we're going to click that. It's going to ask us to select a channel. This is where we're going to select the actual logging channel that we set up before. And we're just going to include the reason is message spam. So let me save changes and show you what this is actually going to do now. If we come back over to the Discord server and say a member was to join your server and just start spamming things. So I was to join and just start spamming a bunch of symbols. It'll basically automatically delete everything I'm sending. And then what the bot's going to do is send a report of everything that just happened to the logging tab here that we set up. So it's basically just going to say, hey, this user was, all the messages were deleted because they spammed messages. This was the messages they spammed. And you can then take action. You can choose to ban the member, kick the member, or do whatever you want right here through the bot buttons at the bottom. Now we've got that set up. One thing we're going to do is we're going to click manage roles, and we're going to make sure that we whitelist our owner, admin, and moderator role. Basically, this means that these roles, the owner role, the admin role, and the moderator role will be excluded from being punished by this specific auto moderation rule. So save our changes. And now if I was to come back in here and spam again, I would not be affected because the bot recognizes that I have the owner role. So it's not going to delete any of my messages. There's 2 more final things we're going to do. We're going to set up our social notifications. Sapphire gives you the ability to automatically notify whenever you publish a new YouTube video, a new Twitch stream, or when you post a new TikTok video. Again, I have a full video going in depth on this. I will include that in the description as well. But just to give you a quick guide on how to do this, we're going to click setup on YouTube. All we're going to do is type our YouTube channel handle. So mine is going to be gesture. Give it a second. It should pop up your profile picture. Click continue. And then we're just going to select the actual channel that we want the message to be sent. So I'm going to send mine in the videos channel. It's going to pop up that it successfully added it. You can open additional settings to basically change the actual message that the bot sends and all that. Again, I'm not going to go through that in this video just for time's sake. So we're going to save our changes here. And the last thing that we're going to do on Sapphire is we're just going to come and set up a little embedded message for our rules. So we're going to come to the messages tab, and then we're going to click create new template over here on the top. And we're going to name the template rules. After you do that, it's basically going to give you the pop-up box where you can edit your message. So I actually have, if you want to come join my server, I'll have the link in the description. It's discord.gg/gesture. I actually have a dedicated rules template that you guys can use for your own server. If you want to come over to my server, it's in the Discord help forum under the "Can you help me make a server" forum post. And then you'll see I have a dedicated rules template here that you can just copy. You can come over here, right click, copy the text, and then come over here to your Sapphire bot and actually paste the rules message. So on the edit tab, we're going to delete this basic message. We're actually going to set this up as an embedded message just to look a little bit cleaner. So we're going to delete all of that out. We're going to click the plus embed button. We're going to give our embedded message a name. So we're going to type server rules. And then into the description, we're just going to go ahead and copy and paste the rules that we just copied. So we're going to click paste, and that's going to put all of our rules in that we just copied over. And we're going to delete the very top part here because we just want the rules. We don't want the message I sent. So now we can preview this to see what it looks like. I've got all of my server rules really cleanly laid out. Come to the use tab, and this is where we will actually send the message into a Discord channel. So we're now going to click here to select a channel. We're going to select the rules channel, and we're going to send the message here and save our changes. If we now come over to our Discord server, we will see in the rules tab, the bot has now sent the message of our server rules into the Discord channel. All right, so now we've got a really great foundation set up. We've got our Sapphire bot set up with most of the essentials in our Discord server. We've got our roles, our permissions for our roles. We've got our channel layout. What we're going to do now before we end off the video is we're going to really spice up this channel layout to give it a nice aesthetic and professional look. If you've been inside other Discord servers, you've probably seen them a little spiced up with these different symbols and emojis and characters that you can use in the channel layout to really kind of bring it to life. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to be using this angled bracket symbol along with this bullet symbol for my channel layout, and I'm going to have those symbols linked in the description below so you can just copy and paste them. However, if you want to look through all of the different options that you can utilize, this website called coolsymbol.com, they have a ton of different characters and symbol options that you can use to really get creative with setting up your channel layout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these from this server over here, come back into my server that we're setting up, and we're just going to jump back in and we're going to edit our categories and edit our channels. So right click on our categories. We're going to do all of this first, edit the category. And then what we're going to do to be able to do emojis, so we pasted those symbols. You're probably wondering, how can we type emojis? Because there's no little emoji button or anything. If you are on a Windows computer, then what you can do is hold down the Windows key and then press the period key, which is also known as dot or full stop if you are overseas. Here in America, we just call it the period key. And then this brings up an emoji keyboard where you can just search through or type any emoji that you want to use. So for example, I can type the waving hand emoji to be able to use for the welcome category. Type that, press a space, and then save our changes. And now we've got a very nice looking category name. Now, what we're going to do for our channels, because I didn't mention this earlier, but you probably noticed when you started creating them yourself. If you were ever in a text channel, if you were to come in and press the space button, it's going to put a little dash. I call it the Discord dash. There's no way to get rid of that in a text channel. If you are in a voice channel, whenever you create a voice channel, you will notice that you can actually use capital letters and you can type a space, but you can only do that inside voice channels. You can't do that in text channels. So what this character is going to do is, one, if we were to just come in and type an emoji and then put a space, that's not really going to look really clean. It puts the little Discord dash there and it just doesn't look that clean. What you could also do is just not put a space there and click save changes, but then it just looks a little too squished together and doesn't look as good. So what we can do with this bullet symbol that I told you guys about This basically is a special character that has natural spacing on both the left and the right side. So it really separates the emoji from the actual text of the channel name, and then it makes it look really good and really professional. So if we were to come through and do that to the rest of our category here, so do that for our rules channel, and then for the announcements channel, we can do the megaphone. Save our changes. You can see that looks very, very clean and very professional. So now all we're gonna do is we're gonna go through and just do that for the rest of our channel layout. So we're gonna do that for our gesture category. We're gonna do that for our community category. We're gonna copy and paste that. We're going to put in an emoji here. Press the space button, save our changes, and we're just gonna do that entire thing for the entire channel layout. I'm gonna pause the video, go ahead and do that, and then show you guys what the finished product looks like. Okay, so I went through and fully fleshed out the channel layout to give it a really clean and professional looking aesthetic. And now we are basically done with our Discord server. The last thing you'll wanna do is go ahead and create an invite link, click the server name at the top left, click invite people, and then at the bottom, you wanna make sure that you click edit invite link, because by default, Discord invites are set up to expire after 7 days. You're gonna click that, click never, generate a new invite link, and then copy that Discord link. Now you can share this Discord invite link to anyone that you want, and they can be able to join your server and start interacting with you. I have so much more that I wanted to be able to cover in this video, but I just don't have the time to do it, or it would be an hour-long video, and that just turns a lot of people away. So I highly recommend, check out the description. Like I said, I have multiple different videos that are very useful that you can learn how to add even more functionality to your Discord server and really optimize it to work exactly how you want it. So my camera ran out of space for the very end of this video, but thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you are interested in hiring me to create your Discord server, like I said, join my freelance server down at the link in the description. Create a ticket, my ticket system, and I would love to help you get something made. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace.